The story opens in silence. A boy stands still in the middle of a dirt lane, winter breath curling in the frozen air. His boots are patched, his coat too thin for the New York cold. But it is not discomfort that tightens his jaw. It is something sharper, something that sets his gaze far beyond the clapboard houses and bare trees of Richford. The world around him is poor, small, transient. He stares into it as if it were an obstacle to be beaten. And in that silence, before he even knows the language to name it, a thought crystallizes. He will not live ordinary. He will not accept the margins. He will rise, and he will become, in his own words, the greatest moneymaker of them all. The tension of that vow begins not in triumph, but in shadow. His father is a wanderer, a trickster, a man who disappears for weeks to sell miracle cures along country roads. His mother is stern, rooted in faith, a woman who preaches thrift and discipline, even when her hands tremble with fatigue. From them, young John D. Rockefeller absorbs contradiction, the pull of risk and deceit from one side, the iron weight of morality and duty from the other. Inside him, these forces do not cancel each other out, they ignite. And what they set burning is not a hunger for comfort, but a ferocious desire to measure his life against numbers, against points, ledgers, profit, and to come out always, relentlessly, on top. At 16, when other boys dream of farms or enlistments, he already lives by calculation. Each errand, each day's work is tallied in his mind. When he earns a few cents helping neighbors or selling small goods, he does not think of candy or play. He thinks of compound growth, of how a penny not spent is a soldier ready for battle tomorrow. His classmates mock his seriousness, but their laughter is muffled against the sound of his own resolve. Rockefeller does not want to be the richest boy in Richford. He wants to be the richest man anywhere. And that ambition, though invisible to most, thrums like a drumbeat beneath his every step. The fire of that ambition grows hotter when he sees the fragility of his family's existence. Rent is uncertain. His father's absences leave debts. His mother prays aloud at night, not only for salvation, but for provision. John feels the weight of those prayers as if they are commands. He must rescue them, and the tool he chooses for rescue is money, not in the sense of luxury, but as an armor against fear. Where others see dollars as trade for bread or cloth, he begins to see them as bricks in a fortress he swears will never fall. It is in Cleveland that his vow takes sharper form. The family moves there when he is a teenager, and in the raw, growing city, he finds what the rural town could not provide, the spectacle of commerce in motion. Horses pulling freight wagons, warehouses stacked with barrels, clerks bent over endless columns of figures. This is a new universe, and he absorbs it hungrily. He studies the flow of goods like a general studies maps of battle. Where others see the noise of trade, he sees patterns, margins, inefficiencies. In the order of accounts and the rhythm of balances, he hears the language of destiny calling. Yet still, doors are not flung open. Rockefeller is no heir. He has no inheritance waiting, no uncle with a partnership to offer. At 16, 17, 18, he walks the streets in stiff collars, knocking at doors, asking for work. Many turn him away. Some do not even look up. He records each refusal with a careful, almost clinical memory, but he does not break.
Instead, he converts each humiliation into further proof. If the world will not hand him opportunity, he will wrest it from the world itself. This determination, cold and precise, becomes the marrow of his identity. Finally, in 1855, at age 16, going on 17, he secures work as an assistant bookkeeper in Cleveland. The job is modest, the pay slight, but to Rockefeller, it is revelation. Here, in ledgers and balance sheets, he sees the skeleton of wealth itself. Every shipment of grain, every transfer of funds passes through ink and calculation. He learns not merely to add numbers, but to see into them, where waste bleeds profit, where timing multiplies gain. His employers note his diligence, but they cannot see the furnace inside. To Rockefeller, each figure on the page is not just arithmetic. It is proof that fortune obeys laws, and that he, if disciplined enough, can master those laws. And so begins his transformation from clerk to architect of empire. But even then, when he is still only a teenager, he whispers to himself in quiet rooms that he will not stop until he is the greatest moneymaker alive. That phrase becomes a mantra. It threads through his prayers at church, through his steps as he walks home in the dark, through the very rhythm of his pulse. He is not reckless. He is not flamboyant. His fire burns cold, controlled, terrifying in its steadiness. The hook of his life, the cinematic tension that stretches like wire across decades, is that his hunger is never satisfied. When he earns his first substantial wage, he saves half of it. When he invests his first $100, he dreams of the 1,000 that must follow. When he earns his first 1,000, he plots the 10,000. Always beyond, always more. Those around him sometimes think him joyless, but he sees it differently. To him, joy is found in the climb itself, in proving over and over that he can build what no one else can imagine. The Civil War years test this vow. As battles rage and uncertainty clouds the market, Rockefeller holds his nerve. While others panic, he studies ledgers by lamplight, calculating where profit hides. He finds it in supply, in logistics, in the overlooked margins of chaos. Each success tightens his conviction that he is chosen, not merely lucky, not merely skilled, but marked for destiny. This belief is not arrogance alone. It is a creed that drives him past exhaustion, past fear. The boy who once shivered in patched boots now commands contracts, yet still he does not slow. For the vow remains unfinished. He is not yet the greatest. What makes this vow chilling is not its scale, but its purity. Many chase wealth for pleasures, for mansions, for admiration. Rockefeller chases it as an end in itself. Money is not decoration. It is the measure of his power, his proof of mastery over uncertainty. He wears plain clothes, eats simple meals, but behind his eyes numbers march like armies. He dreams not of one victory, but of dominion. That hunger follows him into the oil business, where fortune looms larger than ever before. Cleveland in the early 1860s is swelling with refineries. Most men see oil as gamble, quick wealth or quick ruin. Rockefeller studies it as system, as puzzle. He dissects costs, calculates efficiencies, and where others spill profit through carelessness, he traps every cent. His competitors boast of barrels sold. Rockefeller whispers to himself of margins saved. Slowly, inexorably, he tightens his grip. Each triumph feeds his vow. Each acquisition whispers confirmation. He is on the path to become the greatest moneymaker the world has seen.
But this story, this vow, is not one of smooth ascent. Its tension lies in the darkness that shadows it.
To be the greatest, Rockefeller sacrifices. Friendships thin, joys fade, even family feels the edge of his relentless focus. His children remember him as stern, distant, unyielding. To Eliza, his mother, he remains the dutiful son, but she cannot imagine the vastness of the ambition she helped forge. His father, William, sees only fragments of his son's rise and perhaps feels in it a reflection of his own hunger twisted into something harder, colder, far more enduring. As years pass, Rockefeller's vow evolves from private whisper to unspoken law. Competitors call him ruthless, partners call him tireless. To himself, he is simply obedient to the promise he made in silence as a boy, to outwork, outsave, outcalculate every man alive until none could surpass him. He is both prophet and soldier of profit, waging war not with swords, but with columns of numbers, crushing rivals not with fists, but with efficiency. The cinematic hook of this life is not that he succeeded, it is that he could not stop. Even when Standard Oil towers over the nation, when his fortune eclipses kingdoms, when his name itself becomes synonym for wealth, Rockefeller remains restless. He cuts costs further. He expands further. He guards pennies with the same intensity as when he first guarded dimes. For the vow was not to become rich. The vow was to become the greatest moneymaker the world had ever seen. And in that vow there is no finish line, only the endless horizon of more. This hunger shapes not only his business, but his soul. In church pews he bows his head, yet his mind drifts to calculations. In family dinners he listens politely, yet his eyes glaze as if seeing ledgers invisible to others. His life becomes a paradox, outwardly plain, inwardly consumed by the most audacious ambition of his age. His rivals see a cold businessman. His children see a strict father. The public sees a titan of oil, but inside he is still that boy on the winter road, breath steaming in the cold, staring past the horizon with unblinking certainty that he must be the greatest.
And so, the story of John D. Rockefeller is not merely one of empire built or fortune amassed. It is the story of a vow spoken in silence and carried like a brand across decades. It is the story of a hunger that no success could satisfy, of a man who turned numbers into weapons and wealth into destiny. It is the story of how a boy, born to uncertainty and contradiction, transformed his life into a testament to one relentless creed, that he would not rest, would not soften, would not stop, until he had proven beyond question that he was the greatest moneymaker the world had ever seen.